in reality to the system. It's not just deployed once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff from Tencent Research Institute. In case that you do not know our institute, so we are an internal think tank and Tencent, and we do not like the AI research lab. We from a liberal perspective, we have 3 areas of research from such as the industry and economic research, and legal and policy research team, and also a social research team on the impact of digital technology. So today I would like to share some of our thoughts on AI ethics. So because we at Tencent, we have put much of resources into AI research. We have 6 AI-related research labs, including the Tencent AI Research Lab and the Robotic X Lab, and also the WeChat AI Lab, and also image recognition lab, and also a quantum computation lab. So besides they have more than hundreds of full-time researchers doing research in Tencent, and we also, because Tencent as a big company in China, we have many applications across the internet industry. So we bring into our technology into many applications, such as online games. So we develop online game AI to play video games with human players, and also other in medical services, and also transportations, and all the other areas of research. And also our research lab is dedicated to create the artificial general intelligence in the future as our ultimate goal of our research. So that's why we put much of resources into the AI ethics. We think it's very important to ensure that AI can be beneficial in the future. Sorry. So for some general information, I think that we are now entering into the AI era. So because people mentioned the big data, so computer, cloud computing, and other the AI algorithms to make many decisions for us. So there are 3 characteristics. The first is the ubiquitous connectivity. So more than half of the world population is connected to the internet, and it's, for me, it's very in China, we have more than 800 million internet users. Is the largest internet market in the world. So the smartphones and the applications is facilitated basically every aspects of our daily life. So I live in Shenzhen. Maybe in Shenzhen you don't need cash, or you don't need anything else. You just bring with your phones and can do everything from work, from shopping, and from transportation, only by your phone. And the second is accelerating automation and autonomy. So that means AI either to replace or augment human decision makings in many aspects, such as driving cars and other AI services. So the third is the function of physical world and the digital world because of the Internet of Things and also the brain-computer technologies. Maybe in the future, now we have the information technology is very powerful. Maybe in the future we will have technologies that are embedded in our brains that maybe some people are trying to enhance humans' intelligence and even in our force. So what's the extent to that reinforcement in the future? That is a major ethical concern. So there's more basic information that people often say that data is the oil. In China, people say data is the new oil. You have more data, you can gather, you can provide better services and attract more users. And the AI is the new electricity, but people do not talk often about the new pollutions. That means the malfunctions and the side effects of AI algorithms. So today, the use of AI already brings many social, legal, and ethical issues. These are all the categories of issues that is very eminent in today's world, so, such as unintended behaviors. So this Microsoft chatbot when in Twitter goes to become a racist and a sexist, and also the deep fakes. So there are many videos that uploaded into the social mediums, but people cannot recognize it's a real video or a fake video. So people use this kind of technology to make face videos about the politicians, and maybe it can cause some effect into our political intercourses. And also the algorithms. So if you fed the algorithms with biased or inaccurate data, it may be cause inaccurate decisions that will affect maybe our interests and our life. Today's conference is about AI safety. So in our view, I think there are 3 levels of safety issues. So our view about safety issues is much broader than the technical issues. So the first level is the technical issues. So this is a video from our Tencent, security-related labs. We have 7 security-related research labs. So they did a research to the Tesla autonomous driving mode, the autopilot mode. So they did this technical research. So they find some technical errors in the autopilot system. So the first one is that this is earlier in this year. So the first one is they show a particular image to the cars, and the car then to start the windshield wiper. So it's automatically. So if you show, if it is rains, that wiper will start automatically. But if you show an image, it will start. That's a technical error. And the second one is if they put a white small thing in the ground, in the road, and the system will then drive into the operated lane. That will be very dangerous. Maybe get crashed with other cars. And the third one is that our researchers control the car by the gamepad. So we play computer video games. We use the gamepad, so they can hack the systems and control the system like we do in the car race games. So the second one is the physical harms. As the previous speaker mentioned this morning, that self-driving cars maybe cause the real-world injuries to our property or even our lives. So maybe people can use technology to cause harms in the real world. This is second level, and the third level is the social safety. So is the social safety because today the algorithms are used to distribute the contents to users and also to distribute advertisement. So we all know the Facebook analytic, Cambridge analytic schedules, and also the UK's Brexit campaign. So people they maybe misuse the data and algorithms to predict your political orientations and to put targeted ads to affect our democracy or other institutions. I think that's the issue of the social safety. So based on these kinds of issues, we think we urgently need to focus on the AI ethics. So as we can see from this picture that the ethics of computers, the ethics of tech ethics has changed 3 times in the history. First from the computer. The first focus of concern is computer, and then after when we enter into the internet industry, the information explosion becomes the third phase of tech ethics, and now in this new era of AI, the data and algorithms becomes the latest focus of concern for tech ethics. For example, for data we have the privacy and have the trust issues and the transparency issues, and for algorithms, the earlier speakers mentioned that responsibility, accountability, or ethical design. That's all the important issues. So based on this, we recently released an AI ethics report with our Tencent research lab. So the report called the Tech Ethics for AI Rebuilding Trust in digital society. We attributed these issues into one word, trust. So we have trust problems in nowadays. People do not trust the technologies, do not trust the companies who are using the technology to get our attentions. So why we talk about trust? Because whatever you say about safety, transparency, responsibility, or even ethics, that is all the fundamental part of ethics. So we do not trust the new technology and the companies that deliver this technology because of the lack of information. We do not understand the technology they are using, and they do not release relevant, necessary information to let us to know what they are doing with these kind of technologies. So this notion of tech ethics we are proposing has three fundamental components. I think it's three pillars for the tech ethics is much bigger than the technical one or the ethical one. So the first is the technology trust. So to achieve technology trust, we need to ethical. I will say later we will need a multi-level governance, including the AI ethics principles we are talking about today. And the second level is the individual happiness. So today, we all use computers, we all use mobile phones, and maybe we spend too much time online because they are using data and algorithm to attract our attention. So what's the effect on our mind, our physical or mental health of this kind of digital technology? I think that's many people are beginning to think about how we can use technology to benefit the digital well-being rather than to simply attracting more attentions. And for the company, more attentions means you can to put more ads and to get more revenues. So the third one is about the social sustainabilities. Because nowadays we have many sustainability challenges facing all the humanities, but AI is a very powerful technology that can be used to facilitate social goods. It can be a force of good to make benefit people and benefit our world to make a more maybe inclusive or maybe sustainable society in the future. So we propose that this ethical principle is called the ethical ark. So as we know from the Old Testament, there is a Noah's Ark that saved humanities in the legendary histories. I think we will need such a kind of ethical ark to ensure that AI can be under our control and to benefit society and humanities. So it's AICC, four words. So the first one is the A, so AI should be available. So today, the technology is in the hands of a few powerful companies and many other do not have this kind of technology. So we have to ensure that technology is available to the masses, not only to some privileged ones, and also we can use technology to avoid the digital gaps, to bring the other elderly or even the disabled into the internet world, into the connection world. So I think that because we now more than half of the world population, even in China, do not connect to the internet, I think the advancement of AI should come to solve this problem, but not to exaggerate these kind of problems. Therefore, I think so that the well-being of humanity should be the sole purpose of AI development. This is how we can ensure that AI will advance the interests of the human or not some humans. And moreover, I think an available AI is a fair AI, so that AI make decisions that is justifiable and that is fair to the people. I think so. A completely rational machine should be impartial, free of human biases or discriminations. But that is not to be taken for granted because maybe the data is biased or inaccurate, maybe the models is not reasonable. So that is, we have to carefully to take care about to make sure that the systems will not go wrong. So our second principle is that AI should be reliable. I think since AI is already installed in millions of households, we need to make them that they are safe, reliable, and capable of safeguarding against cyber attacks and other incidents to ensure that AI is reliable. I think we think AI system should go vigorous test and validation. So this test and validation process, we can make sure that it can be reach reasonable expectations of performance. So the third principle is the C. So the AI should be comprehensible. I think because AI algorithms are black box technology, people often say that the AI is a black box technology. So you have the input and output in between. You do not know how the system make decisions, how the system make particular decisions. But how? So people say that we have to let the system to be transparent. But how to achieve transparency? Some experts suggest that releasing the underlying source code, all the details of the algorithms. I don't think this is maybe you can try to do that, but I think it's not a feasible technical solutions. Maybe we should try to find other solutions, because on the other hand, if you want to release the code, because you have to protect some legal rights, maybe intellectual property rights, and maybe trade secrets, and even privacy, because if you release the codes or the algorithms, maybe even the data, some of the data is personal data, that will be a threat to our privacy. On the other hand, that the opening of the source code might cause bad actors to act against the models. So, for example, if you the Google maybe before Google released their search ranking, web page ranking, and some people can take advantage of the systems to get their pages to be much get a front ranking. So I think so. Therefore, I think there will be a differential and reasonable transparency. So there is the differential level of information transparency for the regulators or the third-party reviewers. They will be needed the detailed information about the AI models to get it approved or certified. But for the general public, they cannot understand. They do not have the knowledge to understand the systems. They want to be transparent that maybe it's explanation for the particular decisions, or maybe it's behavioral transparency to let the users know what the system will do in this time or next time. So the last principle is that AI should be controllable. So I think every innovation comes with risks, but we should not worry about the distinction of humanity based on artificial general or artificial super intelligence. We should not worry about that. If we worry, we should not develop technology. I think this is not possible. So what we should do is to make sure that the benefits of AI substantially outweigh the potential risks to reach this. I think we have to establish the application boundaries. So what kind of AI application we should not develop because it's illegal or it's unethical, and what's more, we have to take appropriate precautionary measures to make sure that the future hÉigeartaigh or super hÉigeartaigh serves the benefits of humanity. And so to build trust in AI, I think the ethical levels is just a start. I think we will need a multi-level governance. Multi-level governance on the top, we have laws and regulations. we have laws and regulations such as mandatory rules, criminal laws, or even international conventions on maybe on some aspects of AI. And in the middle level, we have industry regulations such as industry standards and best practice, technical guidelines, and even ethical rules. Self-discipline pact is in the middle, in the industry level, and on the bottom level, we must to raise educations and trainings, ethical trainings for the AI researchers and practitioners, and even for the algorithmic literacy awareness raising for the watchdoggers and for the public, because if the government wants to regulate AI, they do not understand the systems, they cannot properly regulate it. And based on this, I think how can we translate this kind of multi-level governance and ethical principles into the design of technology? I think we should follow the ethics by design approach to achieve value-aligned AI. So, for example, so in the copyright law, we have technical measures to protect our rights. If you have a source code into your work, and other people cannot replicate or copy your works, that is technical measures to protect your legal rights. I think this is similar to the ethical protection of AI. So we are now transfer from the ethics design by privacy into the ethics by privacy to fully make sure that AI cannot go wrong, and in the other aspect can make sure that AI is used for the social good, to do the right things. So besides the ethics by design approach, I think we should try to bring AI ethics into life in three aspects of a company. So in the company culture level, and even in the organizational structure, and in their business practices. For example, maybe to establishing ethical review mechanism for AI systems, designing transparency into the systems, and also do some trainings to raising their engineers' ethical awareness. And lastly, so just like the Tencent CEO Ponima said in last year's Digital China Summit, that in this year's Digital China Summit, that the Tech for Social Good is Tencent's new mission and vision. So Tencent has launched several projects related to tech for social good. For example, we have the field project to apply AI to food, energy, and water to solve most urgent challenges we are facing. And so finally, I think I'm a technology optimist, and I think that all by this, for the ethical or the technical aspects of doing, so we can make sure we have a better future. Okay, that's end my talking. Thank you all for your listening.
Let me start, and then when it gets difficult, I pass.